Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Tuesday, and we got some news. Mawson provided their not quarterly results, their monthly results for February. So we'll take a look at the numbers there. We'll also take a look at why Bitcoin has kind of stalled where it's at, and we'll also take a look at how Bitcoin is actually moving off the exchange of Coinbase and what that could actually mean. And we'll take a look at Tesla as well. Tesla provided that they're going to be upping the price on their cars again because of supply issues. So we'll take a look at that as well. So as always, not financial advice. You know the drill here. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And let's take a look at the miners right now, and we'll go from there. So the miners, which is Sphere 3D, they were up 9.49% today to $1.73, which was a good little bounce here on the day. We'll have to see how this plays out. They are battling with the 50-day moving average right now. Argo was actually down today, 7.5% to 74 cents. And it's been trading kind of rough here a little bit. Bitfarms was actually up 4.72% to $3.33. And it is now battling, hoping to hold resistance at the daily moving average of 50. But it looks like it barely closed below it. So we'll see how that one plays out, see if it goes further lower or if it actually bounces here. Cleanspark was up 1.26% to $9.67. Core Scientific was up 4.63% to $7.69. Digihost was up 3.29% to $2.58. It is still using the support of the 20-day moving average, it looks like. DMG was up 3.68% to 46 cents. It is now battling with the 20-day moving average right now. And on the MACD, we can see we've obviously had a little bit of a reversal here. We'll see if this can continue going up higher in the days to come. Hive was up 6.1% to $1.74. And we're actually seeing reversal possibly on the MACD here for Hive, which could signify going down a little bit lower in the days to come. We'll see how that plays out as well. HUT was up 3.89% to $4.81. Iris Energy was down actually 8.15% to $14.09. It has kind of been flat here the last couple of days here, looks like. And I have this on the 1 hour chart. Let's go to the daily chart here. That's actually been going down on the daily chart. Sorry, on that one. Mara was up 4.67% today to 22.41. And it's been kind of going up and down. This kind of pattern here. It's been kind of stuck here at this price here around the $21, $22 range. It went up higher, but it's obviously come back down. It looks like the 50-day moving average is playing to be a pretty good resistance for right now. We can see it touching here, down here. It touched it a couple of times as well, and along here. So that's not a good sign. We'll see how that one plays out as well. Mawson provided their, obviously, production numbers for February, so we'll take a look at those. But they were up 13.88%. And there's actually something that's interesting about Mawson that we'll get into that none of the other miners were able to do last month. So we'll talk about that here towards the end when we cover them. But they were up to $3.61, so they had a nice day today. The numbers spoke for themselves from February. And Riot was up 5.3% to $14.91. So let's take a look at Bitcoin, see how Bitcoin did on the day. Bitcoin was actually, on the 1 hour chart here, it's at 39,378. Excuse me. And you can see that we've been battling with the 20-day moving average here as well on Bitcoin. We've touched it a couple of times here as well. And then we've tried 4 times, basically 4 times in 4 hours to get above it, but we couldn't do it. So we're falling back down on it. Looking at the RSI, we're at 55 on it. Last time we were at here, we were back here, and we were obviously lower. So this is actually a good sign. I like seeing that where the RSI is flat more or less, but the price has gone up. So that kind of gives us a potential that we might be heading for the 40,700 resistance here on the green, which also corresponds right now with the 50-day moving average as well. So we'll see how that one plays out. Ethereum was at 2,625 today. It too looks like it's the 20-day moving average is acting as resistance on it. Our RSI is also at 5960 or so. And then last time we were at this range, we were right around here, obviously lower in price. So this is a good sign as well for Ethereum. All right, let's take a look at the hash rate really quick on Bitcoin. Let's see what it's been doing here the last couple of days. Let me reload this to make sure we get most recent data. And we are back up to around 215 million on the hash rate, but it has actually gone down 7.6% in the last 24 hours. So Hash rate continues to stabilize a little bit right now. I think we're going to see a much larger spike coming up once all the miners start installing all the miners that they're supposed to get. A lot of stuff is delayed right now, so I think Q2 is going to be a pretty good rise in hash rate coming up here. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin approaching 40K. So resistance zone right now and support is at 37, and we can see that obviously on the Bitcoin chart here. That 40,000 is pretty much the resistance, and 37,000 is the support, which we can see down here on the line here. So we're just playing off of that. We're bouncing between it. So a volatile breakout or breakdown is likely this week. And here's why. So the Bitcoin is recovering after multiple setbacks from the 40,000 resistance zone. And the technical indicators are mostly neutral and trading volume is low, suggesting a breakout or breakdown is likely this week. And that's kind of what I've been saying as well. We could go either way, depending on how things shape up. Right now, it looks like we may be going up. So far, buyers have maintained a strong support base around 37,000, which we've seen it bounce off of that multiple times, which could limit pullbacks over the short term. The significant loss of downside momentum on the weekly chart could also encourage buying activity, especially if a breakout above 40,000 occurs. And on the monthly chart, however, the momentum signals are negative, which means upside could be limited toward the 46,700 resistance level. So if we look at the chart here, 46,700, my next line is at 44,700. And after that, next line is 46,700 or 47,000 looks like. 47,000. And after that, we're at 48.5 roughly or so. So those are the lines that I'm following here on that have acted as support or resistance in the past. So we'll see how that plays out. But we do have this story, which is obviously Bitcoin worth 1.2 billion leaves Coinbase in a sign of persistent institutional adoption. And you can see here how it's obviously leaving. We've seen this a couple of times here where we've had pretty good amounts being taken out of the exchanges. So while Bitcoin's 4-month bearish price action appears to have scared away retail, leveraged traders, institutions focused on long-term horizons seem unperturbed. And we've talked about this in the past also, where I think a lot of the institutions are in it while the retail investors have kind of gotten out of trading Bitcoin because they don't see the upside potential that they would see with other coins. So I think that's why institutions are taking over. We've seen this for quite a while, probably since the beginning of summer of last year, somewhere around there. We saw this kind of change a little bit as Bitcoin obviously peaked at 67,000 prior to that, came back down and peaked again in November of last year. So we're seeing the same thing here. So a total of 31,130 Bitcoin left Coinbase last week, the highest single week outflow since 2017. This was obviously depending on when in 2017, because we had that huge rally in 2017 towards December before we had that crash. Data tracked by Glassnode shows. So large outflows like this one are actually part of a consistent trend in the Coinbase balance, which has been stair-stepped downward over the last 2 years. Glassnode said in a weekly newsletter published Monday, as the largest exchange by BTC balance and a preferred venue for US-based institutions, this further supports the adoption of Bitcoin as a macro asset by large institutions. And we're obviously seeing that happening right now. And we've seen it in the past as well. So this is actually a good sign. I think this will actually help, one, decrease the liquidity in Bitcoin on exchanges, making it harder for the price to drop a lot more. And it possibly could also lead to, obviously, the price of Bitcoin going up in the short term, possibly. Let's see. The past week's outflow has pushed the number of coins held on NASDAQ-listed exchange to a 4-year low of 649,500 BTC. The balance held across all centralized exchanges has dropped to 2,519,403 BTC, the lowest number since November 2018. The declining exchange balance means fewer coins are available for liquidations on the exchange. In other words, the sell side liquidity is drying up. This is good, right? Suggesting scoop for a sharp move on the higher side, especially as the coins withdrawn from Coinbase were moved to a largely inactive wallet. So this is obviously good news as well. If you look at the liquid supplies shock ratio, ISSR, we can see a significant uptick this week, suggesting that these withdrawn coins have been moved into a wallet with little to no history of spending, Glassnode said. So this is obviously good. Right, we don't want it going to another wallet and then being sent over to another exchange for trading. This is one that isn't moving much or doesn't have any much history in it is a good thing, because it's basically being locked up, and they believe that the price is going to go up on Bitcoin, which is obviously a good thing for us. All right, so next is Tesla. So Tesla raises prices for a second time in days on rising costs. And so Tesla raises prices in China and the United States for the second time in less than a week after CEO Elon Musk said the U.S. electric car maker was facing significant inflationary pressure in raw materials and logistics. They're not the only ones that are seeing this. Obviously, we saw Rivian as well increase the price of their base models as well. And other companies are doing the same thing. It's just a lot of supply and demand driving prices up. There's no way of getting around it unless you have a basically integrated stack where you mine, convert, and everything else to make whatever you got to make. So, and that's not going to happen. So the increases come as the costs of raw materials are surging, I can't ever pronounce the word, exacerbated by supply chain disruptions following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And prices of metals used in cars have soared, including aluminum that is used in the bodywork, palladium used in catalytic converters, and nickel and lithium that power electric vehicles for the EV batteries. The costs have raised concerns about EV economics as legacy automakers and startups prepare to launch new cars on the back of long semiconductor supply crunch that is still knocking production at companies including Toyota and Volkswagen and others. And that doesn't give them any, what's the word I'm looking for here? Doesn't give them any, higher ground or anything like that. They're all in the same boat basically on this. Nobody's going to be able to, circumvent this one way or another. So Tesla, which has a diversified supply chain, has bought millions of euros worth of aluminum from Russian aluminum giant Russell. CNBC reported on Monday, citing internal documents. Obviously, they're going to have issues getting that because Russia is sanctioned. I doubt they're going to be able to get the aluminum from Russia going forward. They're going to have to find other suppliers, which means higher prices as well. So Russell's billionaire founder Oleg Depryska has been sanctioned by Britain. So they're not going to be able to get the aluminum from them, which is obviously going to drive prices up higher. So Tesla also received a conditional go-ahead for its 5 billion euro German Gigafactory earlier this month after months of delays. So that is obviously just one good news out of there. But they are going to obviously have problems trying to find resources outside of Russia for aluminum especially. So we could possibly see prices of cars going up even higher in the coming future here. And finally, we got Mawson. So Mawson Infrastructure provided their February 2022 Bitcoin self-mining, hosting, co-location, and operational update. And the interesting thing here is they are actually the only miner that I covered that was positive growth for Bitcoin production for February. Everybody else that I covered was negative. So in tomorrow's video, I'm going to go over the miner versus miners, see how each one stacked up to each other, and we'll look at how bad some of them actually did for the month of February. And it was surprising to me that they actually were positive on their production of Bitcoins. They're the only ones that I cover right now. I don't know if there might be some other ones out there, but the ones that I cover, it's the only one that has had a positive net growth in Bitcoin. So in February, Mawson produced 152 Bitcoins, which is an 8.5% increase from January of this year. February average hash rate at approximately 1.15 exahash, which was a 28% increase versus January, which is great. And then the February end of month hash rate at approximately 1.3 exahash, which is an 18% increase versus January of 2022. Not sure. I think there might be something wrong here. 28% with 1.15 and 18% with 1.13. Something doesn't stack up here because they're using the same month here. If you're at 1.3, you should be almost at 30%. And I think this should have been 18% or something like that. I think they got these two mixed up maybe. March end of the month, hash rate expected to be 1.5 exahash, producing approximately 6.8 Bitcoin per day, which is good. Hosted co-location update. So 4 megawatts of hosting customers online in February. I don't know if that has grown or not. I haven't been tracking this. In early March, new 100 megawatt hosting co-location agreement signed with Celsius Mining. First deployment at Mawson's hosting facilities expected in late Q1. So possibly we're looking at sometime this month, maybe towards the end of the month. In early March, new 12 megawatt hosting co-location agreement signed with Foundry Digital. First deployment at Mawson's hosting facilities expected in late Q1 2022. Operational updates. So ASIC Bitcoin miners continue to be delivered on a monthly basis, with a batch of Canon A1246 miners delivered during the month. February saw 3 fewer calendar days versus January, as well as a continued rise in network difficulty over the course of the month. Despite these headwinds, monthly Bitcoin production was up 8.5% versus January 22 and up 300% versus the February 2021 of last year. So this was obviously huge. They're the only ones that I cover, like I said, that were actually up. And I think that's why we saw Mawson up nicely today, because if you look at it here, Mawson was up almost 14% on the day. And that's possibly why they're the only ones that were up for the month. Midland, Pennsylvania facility, first modular data centers and electric transformers have arrived. Site is expected to be online with approximately 16 megawatts of mining hardware by the end of March 2022, which is good. Sandersville, Georgia facility, 38 modular data centers now deployed on site, expected to be fully operational at approximately 80 megawatts online by the end of March 2022. Stage 3 expansion approved to 230 megawatts, which would be capable of accommodating up to 7.5 exahash, which is nice, with site planning now underway. So that's good news as well. So Australian facility, weather-related issues has meant operational ramp-up now expected to occur throughout Q2, with the facility fully operational by June 2022. Okay, so they've obviously had some delays there, which is okay. They obviously did a great job anyways, increasing their Bitcoin production for the month compared to January. All right, so let's take a look at my numbers here for them. So they had 140 Bitcoins in January mined, 152 in February, which was an increase of 12 Bitcoins, 8.57% growth month over month, and valued approximately 6.5 million in USD dollars, which is good as well. So that was a nice increase from the prior month. So almost 1.2 million in revenue increase just in month over month, even though there was only 28 days in the month for February instead of January, which had 31 days. Looking at the numbers here, I added these miners here. So I did combine a lot of them together that were the same miners just to free up space, make it a little bit more condensed. So we had these miners here that were running, and then I added the 980 here at 98 terahash, 980 more, and then 100 more here to get us up to the 1.3 exahash that they reported at the end of February, basically. I have these miners that were added in running at 20 days on average. That's the average that I came up with. Depending on when you got them in, you would be running at about 20 days. But that also depends on when you got them in and how fast you got them installed. So on average, I put in 20 days, and it actually worked out pretty well. We got them at 6.6 million here, making the revenue for the month. They reported 152 Bitcoins, obviously, so that gets us to about 6.56 million, which is really close to what they reported. So we're right on the mark here. So this is really good. As far as HODL, they didn't provide any HODL. They don't HODL, I don't think, any Bitcoins, or at least not reported. So I have them at 0 right now. Current hash rate is 1.3. Future hash rate, I have them about 3 exahash. I know they want to get to 5 and higher going forward. Right now, from what I have just reported here, from what they provided in the reports, I have them at 3 exahash right now. Future hash rate, so they are operational percentage-wise 43% right now. And number of miners right now is 13,650, and average hash rate per miner is about 95 terahash, which is really pretty good. It's not the best out there, but it's really good. It's better than a lot of them out there right now. So looking at the numbers, they are at $3.61 right now. Market cap of 250 million right now. I have them for the last 3 quarters at 33.6, almost 33.7 million. Combining that with these 3 quarters for January, February, March, we're looking at close to 19 million. That would get them to a combined total of 52.7 million, 52.8 million roughly. If we use 50% net income from gross revenue, we're at 26.4 million. And price to earnings multiple of 20, we would be at 765. 75% net income from gross revenue would be at almost 39.6 million. And price to earnings multiple of 20, we're looking at 1148. They are obviously undervalued in my opinion right now. I think if Bitcoin goes up higher, even if we take this maybe down to a 10, if we take it down to a 10 multiple, we'd be pretty close to where they are right now, but still undervalued in my opinion from where they should be. On the 50%, on the 75%, we'd be at $5 and 74 cents, I believe, right around there. So they're still undervalued in my opinion. And like most miners are right now undervalued because obviously Bitcoin has come down in price. So that obviously affects the miners more when that happens. So we'll see. So tomorrow we'll have the video obviously for miner versus miner. We'll take a look at the comparison for what each one produced month over month. And that way you guys will see how drastic this change is actually compared to the other miners, that they were actually able to provide positive Bitcoin growth for the month. Otherwise, let me know what you guys thought of the numbers. What do you think of the Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges? I think that's a good thing. I think everybody should take their Bitcoins off of exchanges. If you're not trading them, take them off the exchanges. Get rid of all the liquidity in the pools and the exchanges, making it a lot harder for Bitcoin to fall drastically. I've heard that from a number of people on Twitter and everywhere else that might be a good thing to do. And then as far as Tesla, Rivian, everybody's increasing pricing. We may have the Fed obviously tomorrow also raise the interest rates by 25 basis points. And I think it'll be a shock if it goes 50 basis points. I think they expect it as 25 basis points right now, so we'll see how that plays out as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, as always, the spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. Description is down in in the description in the video. If you guys want to help me out there and get the files as well, that you're more than welcome to do that. I also talk to you guys there. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. That's all I ask from you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So have a great day.